one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. This gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Hey, I got some wise words for that Cincinnati mayor. Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni. You gotta fight for your right to party! You ready to make history? Come on now. Yeah. You know, there's these two words. And when I say them, people get goosebumps because they know what happens next. So without further ado, free smoke. Look, scared cause I'm drowning in silence with bad thoughts. These days I don't have nothing to say, man, the bag talks. I put in headphones on my driver. Pull up to the spot and give a good dick and Godiva. I can't lie, I'm uninspired. No more pillow talking about nonsense. I only stick around to put some band-aids on my conscience. I don't know why I feel so bad, nigga. That's what we do, no foundation. We don't build no more, we just screw. Half a bottle of Henny, girl, I'm going with the wind. The same niggas say they happy for me, ain't want me to win. So I'm done on my friends. Don't need help popping Coronas and reminiscing. I just call up Big Bro J and say it's time for venting. If I live forever, I hold this hate for some centuries. You don't know how much or how you doing what it meant to me, but motherfuck all that. I don't even offer up the time to make the call back. Stupid Lodo, if they don't get the picture now, man, I crop them out of the photo. I can't relate to my peers. Been doing this shit for years. I'm motivated by fears. I took the wheel and I steer. My sound not dictated by fuck boys in Atlanta. Stay gifted like this album was ghost written by Santa Bars forever, like they decided to throw me under Slammer. Every song's a hit like they picture me underhanders. I could drop a million songs, but they never gon' understand us. Soapbox sermons for niggas never giving chances. Fight our whole lives to get these weak ass advances. Work twice as hard for the shit that they getting handed. And this ain't even nothing we chose, nigga, we branded. Still can't tell why all of these niggas mad at me. I'm trying to get 100 so I can put my team on salary. Give it all to the art, man, I turn my life to a gallery. Man, damn, what a fucked up masterpiece. 1,100 shots and I swear, man, I felt them all. If we ain't even good on our block, man, who can we call? Pre-decline state of mind, we broke crabs in the barrel. Got us fighting our folk, man, this shit just a life of peril.
Cashing in, say, the way Liv did, well, that's like winning the lottery, isn't it? And I don't need to win the lottery because I work my ass off every week for a paycheck.
Welcome back to another episode of Kick. Wrong show, bro. Welcome back to Wrestling with Saint, yo. I'm on backwards ass timing right now. You gotta forgive me. I appreciate you for joining me though, bro. If you new, if you old, you coming back, you returning, I appreciate it all. Like, subscribe, share, bro. We here to talk about the WWE 2023 Elimination Chamber. We got a lot to talk about. Yo, I appreciate that they start these shows. Well, you know what? Not even a real complaint. Because I was going to say they start and finish. Now listen, it's a little bit different. There probably was a time when the Elimination Chamber was the last match of the night, but usually a title was on the line, like the main title. So the main guy was in that match. If Roman Reigns ain't in that match, that's not going to be the final match. So with that exception, as one of them being the co-main event and one starting the show. Now, back in the day, they didn't have two. I can't even remember when it was that they started having two separate elimination chambers. And I understand one was men, one was women. But I believe they had a pay-per-view where it was two elimination chambers on it and it was two different title matches in it. However, I'm glad they start the show off with one of these being an elimination chamber match. Because how many matches did we have on the show tonight? We had 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. I gotta be tripping. We had 5 matches tonight, bro. We had 5 matches. That is crazy. That's crazy. It was only 5 matches. It seemed like it was longer than that. However, bro, Peacock, bro, fix your service, bro. So I watched the NBA All-Star before I get into the show. Once again, I appreciate y'all for joining me. I watched the NBA All-Star weekend. I'm not going to do that recap on this. Obviously, I'm going to do a video for that. This ain't that. But after I got done watching that, I tried to go watch the pay-per-view. And I guess a Roman Sami Zayn match was on. But I wanted to just be able to start from the beginning and watch it. Bro, I could not watch. Peacock did not allow me to watch the pay-per-view back in full until like 12:30 or something like that, I believe. It could have been later than that. Why? Why? Like, bro, Peacock, bro, I swear, bro. I swear. Ooh. The only reason I'm not gonna bitch right now is because I watched this show called Poker Face on Peacock. And it's a good show. I like it. So that's the only reason I'm not finna say I wish they bring back the WWE Network, bro. But you've been warned. Listen, the first match of the night. The women's money in the bank. What am I on tonight? The first match of the night, the women's elimination chamber match. The winner of this match will go on to face Bianca Belair at WrestleMania. Before I get it now, I'll probably get into the match first, but I do got something to say about that after the match. However, the contestants in the match: Asuka, Carmella, Raquel Rodriguez, Nikki Cross, Natalya, and Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan and Natalya would start the match. And they had a good little back and forth to start. Bro, it's very interesting. So Natalya got cheered a lot because they in Montreal, Canada. So obviously the superstars from Canada are going to get a big reception. That was a trending thing throughout the night. If you're a wrestler on the roster from Canada and you perform tonight, you probably had the crowd on your side for the most part. So Natalya was getting cheered a lot to start this back and forth between her and Liv. And then Raquel came out. Bro, I want to say something. I almost I don't think neither was a bad elimination chamber. But it's a specific reason that I almost did not like the men's Royal Rumble. I mean, the men's, I am on demon timing tonight. It's a specific reason why I damn near did not like the men's elimination chamber. And because I cannot think of a specific reason as to why I might not have enjoyed a part of the women's Royal, I'm on demon timing again. Why I could not think of why I wouldn't enjoy the women's elimination chamber. I probably enjoyed this one more. Nah, I think I enjoyed it. But it was something that was irritating the hell out of me in the men's elimination chamber. I'm going to get to it when I get to it. But Natalya and Liv had a great back and forth. But then Raquel came out. And Raquel is so strong. But I wish they would do something with her. Like right now, her character is just, I'm strong as hell and I smile a lot. And I do that back flex thing, which is not even impressive. I don't think they understand that is not like something that the crowd is popping for, because it might be impressive to her. And it is impressive that but I don't think the majority of the crowd really care too much about that. So they could really take that out of her gimmick. I done said it before. I think Raquel's ring gear is atrocious right now. You don't really think about it at the time, but ring gear is actually an important part of a character because it's what you wear out to the ring. And I'm not saying she got to show body parts or nothing like that. I mean, she show her back. I'm not saying she got to wear a singlet or nothing like a two-piece and show off stomach. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the design of her onesie that she wear right now is ugly. It's atrocious. No real thought or effort is being put into that. So I'm not a big fan of that. 2, right now, as long as Raquel done been a dominant force somewhat in the since she done been called up, the only thing that we know about her is she's strong as hell, she tall as hell, and her finisher is the Tejana Bomb, and she smile a lot. Triple H calling so many NXT people up and not fleshing out their characters just throwing them in the storyline after storyline, and they usually win most of their storylines. I'm not gonna lie, it's one of the reasons that it's kind of hard for me to watch wrestling at times, because I'm like, yo, it's like I'm watching NXT at times, bro. Like, these dudes is everywhere, and I got no problem with them being on the show. It's the fact that they not being utilized in a proper way. They all getting thrown on the roster at the same time, so now you gotta utilize them all at the same time. When if you strategically bringing them up one at a time in proper ways, I just like, how many times is the Miz gonna lose to an NXT dude to help him get onto the roster? How many times somebody, like, I don't know, man. To me right now, and this ain't just a Raquel problem. It's Raquel is actually doing far better than most of the NXT call-ups. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously the big ones is probably would be Dakota and Io, but that's because they with Bayley. I can't imagine that they would have been this, great to start off if not for being with Bayley. And I'm not saying you got to come in and be Charlotte, Sasha, Bianca. Everybody don't hit the ground running like those three. Becky didn't. Bayley hit the ground running, but she got stagnant and had to evolve. One of the greatest heel turns of all time. Probably saved Bayley's career, in all honesty. Or I don't want to say saved it, because she always had time. Who knows if she could have turned it around, but that heel turn was just so perfect. But Bayley has literally been nothing but a heel ever since. Like, they have not flipped her back to a baby face yet. She has been nothing but a heel from the day she turned heel to now. That's telling you how great of a turn that was for Bayley's character. Becky Lynch was turned into a heel, which I never agreed with, for the simple reason they turned her into a heel against Charlotte. The crowd already liked Becky. They felt like she was being done dirty. They were never going to cheer for Charlotte. Why do that? I don't understand that type of moronic booking. Like, sometimes WWE do shit and I'm like, bro, how does this make sense? Like, if you sit back and look at this decision, how does this make any logical sense to make this decision? Which I'm going to talk about another situation like that later on tonight. But eventually, once we got past Becky being a heel, which is one of the things that I hate so much about what they do. And I have a fear that they could possibly do this to Bianca. I'm going to start calling it the Lamar Jackson effect. When you have a player that is so great that you get lazy with how you game plan, who you put around them, how you book them. Because Charlotte, being as great as she is, and I think she the GOAT, the last couple years, they have gotten so unbelievably lazy when it comes to booking Charlotte. They so worried about stacking her titles instead of putting her in a legitimate story that could progress her character. I done said it before. Her and Bianca should have matched up already. Now, this is a conversation I'm going to have after this, but all I'm saying is Becky ended up becoming the man, which was a heelish type character. But then she evolved into big time Bex. Now, I know we call her the man still now, but she really big time. And she became more so like The Rock. An anti-heel sometimes, but most of the time, for the most part, she is like an anti-hero type. A hero with attitude, a hero with swag, a hero that can naturally just be cool. They don't have to recite the baby face lines all the time. They don't have to be, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to be a sucker. They can be a cool ass, bro. I vibe with that motherfucker. That's a cool dude. You see what I'm saying? So that's what Becky done progressed to. Charlotte should be the top. Charlotte should be the greatest. She already the greatest. But she should be the greatest woman heel of all time. But they keep doing this flipping, flopping with her. Every time the fans start to cheer Charlotte, bro, that don't matter. Sure, thank you. They respect her. We already know deep down most of if not all real WWE fans respect Charlotte. Why is it so hard to keep her as a heel when she is so good as a heel? The way you could have kept progressing the storyline of, bro, I am the opportunity. I am what all these women. Bianca just said on a recent podcast that her dream match, which I done said this on multiple shows, she done beat all the 4 horsewomen. The dream match is her and Charlotte because she is clearly the young GOAT and Charlotte is clearly the GOAT. I fear that they will try to rush that instead of slowly building that the way that should be built. because that could be one of the greatest rivalries of all time. And I just have a feeling they're going to try to rush it. But Raquel was in this match. Nikki Cross was in the, when Raquel came into the match, she started slinging. I know we got off track. Back to the match. When Raquel came into the match, now you got to remember, it's her, Liv, Natalya in the match. Bro, Raquel started slinging. No, bro, go back to Natalya when Natalya was slinging Liv into one of the pods. Like, I'm talking about just, the pod design, for one, the Elimination Chamber is a fire design. From where it started to where it is now, I always thought it was a spectacle. But just to see how, modern it's become, like, fire. The lights and all, fire. But the sound effects on multiple wrestlers, but Liv Morgan hitting these pods over and over and over and over and over. Ridiculous. Natalya was in love with the steel tonight because Liv had her fucked up on the steel. Raquel had her had her basically in a Samoan drop position, but kept ramming her to the steel. Raquel just strong as hell, and I wish they would find. Now listen, I'm not trying to say Raquel should dumb down what she do like a big person, not be strong. Because my problem with Damian Priest is so many times he don't perform like a big man. It's cool to have all those other moves that prove that you great, but to just never perform like a big man. Bro, when a big man don't perform like a big man, it hurt a big man worse than when a little man don't perform like a little man. When a little dude perform bigger than he actually is, that you could do a lot with that. When a big man perform like a little dude, that's cool. But if you can never truly book him to perform, or her to perform like a dominant force, that is a problem. You can't book Damian Priest to be a dominant force right now because his arsenal, his moveset is not that of a big man. A lot of jump kicks, a lot of kicks, period, a lot of flying kick. And it's not even just the big boot. His big boot don't even look that great. So I'm not telling you to dumb down Raquel. What I am saying is, can we expand her at some point in time? Because I'm almost certain she can do more than the limited moveset she do at the moment. But nonetheless, I like Raquel. I'm just telling you right now. And for I'm actually happy they have, like, some people feel like they forcing Raquel on us. I think that's ridiculous to say because she has yet to win a championship. If she had won a championship by now, that's a completely different story. Because I think if you look at her clearly, it looked like some of them kicks she be hitting people with. She kicked Natalya in the stomach with one of the kicks. I swear it looked like those bad boys be hurting. But I don't think Raquel should be a champion right now. She not green, but to me, she clearly shouldn't be a champion, right? She clearly couldn't carry the division right now. Without them severely like booking things in her favor. Like, I know people think like, oh, they could become a champion and they could just book everything in their favor. Yeah, that's okay, but that's not going to be a great reign. A great reign is when you can be a dominant champion without them needing to book everything in your favor. Obviously, you're going to be booked to win, but to have great matches, you don't need every little detail booked to your favor. You know what I'm saying? So, it's been champions in the past where if this champion get their ass beat at any point in time because of how they've been booked, it's already done ruined their credibility. Because now nobody takes them serious. So you got to book them a certain type of way. And when you don't, it just completely derails anyways. Nikki Cross was second out. And she never took her coat off for the longest. She did the Nikki Cross thing where, she had all the three other. Now, if you're keeping track, Raquel in the match, Nikki in the match, Natalya in the match, Liv in the match. And Nikki hitting them all, running from corner to corner, hitting them all. She throw all of them out to the, okay, so they're in an elimination chamber. So when I say throwing them out to the floor, they still in the elimination chamber. So it's like this raised steel floor type thing. She ended up going to the top, waving her coat around. Finally, she took her coat off, waving it around in the air like she just didn't care, and I can't even believe I just used that reference, but regardless, swagged out. So I made it sound great. You dig what I'm saying? Like if Roman really had the juice back in the day, he could have made Suffering Succotash sound swaggy. Sadly, he didn't have the juice back in the day. If he say it now, I bet you he could make it sound saucy. Nonetheless, Nikki, a lot of people was taking dives tonight. The most impressive one I'm gonna get to when we get to it. Nikki dived off the top. Bro, a while ago on one of the wrestling shows, I said one of the most important things when people do these dive attempts, because I was bothered by the fact that Charlotte keep doing the moonsault, and people was starting to say, well, she keep missing it. It's an elbow thing, basically. And I said, you right, but that's not on Charlotte. After Charlotte turned around one time to see where the landing target is, when she start that move, it is on her opponent to make themselves a big target. That's not on Charlotte no more. Charlotte got to perform the move, and the move is just not with Charlotte. The person who is having the move performed on them have to move in the way and have it performed. That's what everybody doing a dive-in type of move to the outside. You have to make yourself a big enough target. Even when we see these dudes group up sometimes where they do group dives, it looks sloppy. Shout out to Nikki, if you're keeping track. Nikki, Natalya, and Liv. Nikki, Natalya, not Nikki. Natalya, Liv, and Raquel for making themselves. And I know some people say, well, it's 3 of them. Bro, I'm just telling you, you go through the history of this thing and it get dicey. So shout out to them on a beautiful spot and making themselves big enough targets to where Nikki didn't get hurt. It looked great when it was performed, like chef's kiss. Next out, third out if you keeping track, is Carmella. And if you also keeping track, that means we now have Natalya, Liv, Nikki, Raquel, Carmella in the match, meaning Asuka would be the last entrant into the Elimination Chamber. Now, I just want to say something real quick off topic. For the longest, I thought Carmella was black. Her whole vibe, her swag, never gave me like, oh, that's a white woman. Her tan makes me think that she is a lighter skinner. Like, bro, I recently found out Carmella was Caucasian. Never knew that, bro. That might sound weird to some people, but I literally never knew that. Never realized it. Never did the history check. My homie told me that like a good while ago. Unbelievable. Nonetheless, I love Carmella. One of the best women wrestlers on the roster. Never get credit. I never hear people say that in the same sentence. I feel the way about her as I do The Miz. 2 of the hardest working wrestlers in the business. They don't bitch. They don't complain. They don't get hurt. They just go to work, do their job, and they help elevate everything that they are in. It don't matter what story you put them in. It don't matter who you match them up to wrestle with. It don't matter what you put on their plate. They gonna knock it out the park. People like that don't get enough credit. That's probably why I don't like people like CM Punk and Daniel Bryan, because they constantly shit on dudes like The Miz and have fans everywhere shitting on dudes like The Miz. But when you really take a step back as an adult within a mature mind and look at what The Miz has done for his company, it don't matter if you like the WWE or not. Any company would want to have somebody like The Miz. Motherfucker work hard. Look where he started. Look where he at now. Look at the accolades. Look at how he represent the company. Like, bro, look at Carmella. You never hear about them getting in trouble out of the ring. You never hear about them complaining about their spot on the roster. You never hear about them complaining about threatening to leave to another company because they don't like how they treated in the company. Bro, they are legitimate definitions of grinders. The way y'all like to talk about people putting their head down, because y'all know when we talk about the NFL, people like to tell them just shut up and work hard. Carmella and The Miz literally just shut up and work hard. And I rarely see them get the respect that they deserve. So shout out to Carmella and The Miz, bro. But specifically Carmella, because we talking about Carmella. But Carmella came into the match, and you already know you're going to see a fire-ass super kick from Carmella. And you already know Carmella going to be hilarious. She came into the match and immediately tried to get the pins. After none of them got pins, she tried to run back into her pod. But, bro, Raquel runs Nikki straight through her pod. Like through Carmella's pod. So Carmella got to vacate that pod, run to another one, and lock herself in it. Carmella just knows her character. How many if your favorite wrestlers who you feel like constantly get screwed over, the perfect example, Becky Lynch. Back when you thought Becky Lynch was constantly getting screwed over and yada yada yada, Becky Lynch did not have her character on lock like Carmella always done had her character on lock. Now Becky Lynch now, obviously, but that Becky Lynch character back in the day, I always say, what was that character? She came out, she wore Explorer goggles, she wore a hideous outfit to the ring. Look at Swag Bex now. Big swag. Look at what she be wearing in these matches, bro. Look at her last couple, man. Beck is I love Bex. Shout out Big Tom Bex. But back to the match. So what a move by Raquel. She put Nikki through the match, and that ended up, she got the pin off of that. So Nikki Cross would be the first one eliminated. Later on in this match, also, Asuka has entered the match now. But Raquel was going for a move on, I cannot remember who it was on. I think it was on Natalya, actually. But was it on Natalya? I think it was on Natalya. I could be tripping, but I'm pretty sure it was on Natalya. And Liv hit her off of the top of the cage, off the top of a pod. Let me put it like that. With a sunset flip. It always look weird when the big wrestlers have to take hard bumps. I just be like, bro, I hope they okay. Because for some reason, I just be thinking big people get hurt easier when they take certain bumps. So I just was hoping Raquel was all right. She a big dog. She was all right. But that was a beautiful sunset flip by Liv off the top pod. But then later on in this match, one of the best spots of the night. And bro, was that in this when that happened? Yes, it was. Bro, one of the best lines of the night was when Corey Graves said a symphony of educated feet. And it was because of one spot, but he could have used it in two spots. Shout out to Corey Graves for not overusing it. And Corey Graves, once again, a monster on commentary. Absolute demon on commentary. They really got to have Pat. I pray they have Pat, Corey, and Michael Cole on commentary for the entirety of WrestleMania for day 1 and 2. Oh my God, the way that would elevate the show. That would be absolutely amazing because they killed it at the Royal Rumble. But Liv Morgan was trying to hit the how did I forget the name of her finisher? She tried to hit her finisher, the one that come off of the rope. She tried to hit her finisher on Natalya. But as she was going for it, Carmella hit her with a mean ass super kick. And then when she turned around, she got hit by another move. And she ended up getting put in a submission by Natalya and by Asuka. And they ended up putting her to sleep, basically. And that's how she was eliminated. And then Natalya was eliminated. Bro, I did not write down how Natalya was eliminated. Who eliminated Natalya? It was Asuka, I believe, who eliminated Natalya. Oh, no, you know what? Just know Natalya was eliminated. I apologize for not remembering how she was eliminated. But the final three in the match was Asuka, Carmella, and Raquel. And almost immediately, Raquel tried to hit Asuka with a Tejana bomb. And Carmella, being the absolute brilliant genius she is, she immediately go for the knee. And then they hit her, Raquel, with a symphony of educated kicks. Super kick here, back fist there, super kick there, roundhouse kick there, another super kick, another roundhouse kick. And they end up getting a double pin on Raquel. And then it got down to the final two, and eventually Asuka ended up putting Carmella. I almost thought Carmella was going to, you never know, because Carmella is that type of competitor now where if she win against top tier opponents, it's believable. She done it before. She done carried herself like a champion. I look at her as a champion, as somebody who can win those type of championships. She is somebody who I could see beating Bianca because she is a phenomenal heel. She is the exact type of heel that could edge her way to a championship. The way Edge was a heel back in the day, Carmella is on that level, bro. I'm trying to tell you, bro. and the way she can adapt to being whatever she need to be to fit the story, I'm telling you, they could make Carmella one of the most vicious villains in the WWE if they wanted to, and you would believe it because of how unbelievably great Carmella is. I don't know what the fuck I just said. Because of how because of how unbelievably great Carmella is. But she do end up tapping out. Well, not necessarily tapping out because you can't tap, but quitting to the verbally tapping out to the Asuka lock. And Asuka will move on to WrestleMania to take on Bianca Belair. Now, I'm not going to give my predictions on that match. I'm going to do a prediction video for WrestleMania. But I am irritated a little bit. Because now they done got into this thing where they are not even Bianca. If Bianca wasn't as great as she was, her reign could have got real still. Because she the top baby face in the company and she's so effortlessly is great at being a baby face, they've got lazy. They done relied on Bianca's talent. And now, when is the last time they done put her? Since her Becky Lynch feud, she has not been in a legitimate feud to build her. They just been giving her opponents, much like they've been doing for Charlotte the last couple years. They've yet to put them in, and you can't tell me Charlotte don't deserve it for how she carried the Ronda Rousey feud. And what she has just done for Ronda Rousey over the last couple years, to be completely honest with you. So, it's very irritating to me to see two greats like Charlotte and Bianca come into WrestleMania season without legitimate feuds, and all of them basically being rushed. So, I'm pretty sure they'll pull up the past with Rhea and Charlotte, which they would have been able to do regardless because Rhea got history with Charlotte and Bianca. But what I'm hoping happen is that at WrestleMania, Charlotte lose, even though I really don't like it that, I understand Charlotte could lose this, win the next 5 WrestleManias. But it's just something about great, like, I don't want to see Bianca, Charlotte, Becky losing a bunch of WrestleMania matches. And Charlotte feel like she lose more, which is why it's weird that people always hating on Charlotte, because she lose at Mania just as much as Triple H was losing at Mania to end out his career. And Charlotte is well in her prime. So either way, Charlotte need to find a way to end up on. I'm hoping that she lose the title to Rhea. The WWE draft come and she is drafted to Raw, because the fact that they have not, and then they turning her to a baby face is just one of the most irritating things that I just cannot for the life of me understand. To turn her into a baby face just made absolutely no sense, because the crowd does not want to cheer Charlotte. So, we'll see what happened with that. But the second match of the night was Bobby Lashley taking on Brock Lesnar, and this was exactly the match that you thought it was going to be. It was not a lot of suplexes, but, a couple F5s, a couple spears. Eventually, Brock tried to, he was put into the hurt lock, and he couldn't get out of it, so he hit Bobby with a low blow. And this is where the progression of the match, where they wanted you to get to, is where we got to. Brock F5 the ref, he F5 Lashley, then F5 Lashley through a table, then he F5 the ref onto the broken table. Brock Lesnar snapped and smiled on his way out. Not sure where they are going with the Brock Bobby thing right now. Some of the most 50-50 booking I've ever seen in my life. Not even some of them, and it's not even a problem with the 50-50 booking. It's a problem with the convoluted endings. Bobby Lashley done beat Brock and has yet to get an actual clean, convincing win over Brock. What does that do for Bobby? If your whole goal is that you can't make Brock look bad to Bobby, which is how this thing look like it's being booked, what is the purpose of this? Because, I can nitpick and say, well, he couldn't break the hurt lock, and, Bobby got him on Raw, and but every time the bright lights is on, and Bobby eliminated him, but every time these two get a chance to be mano somehow, well, you know what? This is truly 50-50 booking, like I said. Like, this is doing nothing for Bobby, because Brock is already set. That's the whole thing. Brock gains nothing from this feud unless the other opponent is great in the feud. But the other opponent can't be great if the booking is so 50-50, and 50-50 don't help in a Brock Lesnar feud. I'd like to take this quick break, though, to say thank you for joining me, man. Like, subscribe, share. Back to the video. But 50-50 booking does not help in a Brock Lesnar feud when Brock is already so established. You want to know why Roman and Brock Lesnar's recent feuds worked? Because it wasn't 50-50 booking. Roman was winning those matches, just like Brock was winning them in the beginning. And maybe that's what's got to happen with Lashley. But I would much rather see Lashley lose a convincing match than keep getting wins and getting his ass beat after the match. Or having Brock not even look defeated after the match. So I'm interested to see where this feud go. But also, I guess Bray Wyatt is supposed to face one of these two. I don't want to see that, because I don't want to see them in a feud with Bray Wyatt, who I think is probably the worst character in wrestling right now. All flash, no substance whatsoever. Some of the worst matches that I done seen in recent memory over his last couple matches when he was the Fiend. And this is so crazy, seeing as how Bray used to be a phenomenal in-ring competitor. To see what this character is and how it's forced him to wrestle, bro, I hate this character. I don't want to see Lashley or Brock Lesnar face the character unless they decimate in the character, because that's how they could get booed massively and get real heat. But I am not interested in the slightest to see Lashley or Lesnar have to deal with a feud with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy and all that other bullshit. I'm just being completely honest with you. The third match of the night, Edge and Beth Phoenix took on Judgment Day. They call them the Grit Couple, but I call the Grit Couple Carmella and The Miz, even though they're not together. That's real grit. But Judgment Day with Rhea and Finn Balor. My guy, Finn Balor is hilarious. And shout out to Judgment Day. You can see how much this group, these guys being together, done help them evolve their characters. Finn Balor, with all the ad-libs, I call them, the flexing and the understanding how to become a great heel. Rhea Ripley, Dom, dipping when Edge come to the outside and then coming back and playing to the crowd. Understanding how to play to the crowd and whatnot is such an important part of being great. And looking at the Judgment Day's evolution since from where they started to where they are now. And if you remember, if you didn't listen to me back then, and if you did, I said when the Judgment Day first got together, I said the goal of this group should be to put Rhea Ripley over. And later, as we went on and they got Dom, I said, okay, now we can work, because they started evolving. Rhea got better. She became a huge focal point of the group. It became the Rhea factor. But then look how everybody started growing after. This is exactly what you wanted. This is exactly where you wanted the Judgment Day to be. They could be even better. I don't necessarily agree with the outcome of this match, but I understand, and story-wise, you had to have this eventually. I don't think it hurt the Judgment Day at all, because they did lose this match. But I'm just ecstatic to see where the Judgment Day done been. And Edge had to play a great part in this also. And shout out to them for understanding Edge could not take this group to where they needed to be if he remained the leader of Judgment Day. And shout out on the patience, bro. The patience and long game to get the Judgment Day to this, bro. I'm just so happy that the Judgment Day is where they are. But when Finn hit Edge early in the match and he flexed towards Beth Phoenix, I was in tears, bro. I was in tears. And then the crowd just audibly, fuck you, Dominique chants. Just going nuts. Just out of nowhere. Like, Dom is over. Like, I told you, with his pops, he was never going to get to this right here. That's why I kept influencing and encouraging him to turn on Pops. Because it was just never going to get to where it needed to get to. Because the type of baby face that Rey Mysterio is only worked for him because of how long he been into the WWE and the fact that he been a baby face his entire career, basically. He is the overly baby face that could legitimately say every single made up feel good line there is, and the crowd gonna react in a positive way towards it. But that's not going to help Dominique because he ain't been here like Ray. He ain't Ray. He needed to be able to carve out his own path and not continue to be Rey Mysterio's son. Dominique is over now. And I like that. But Dominique is hilarious also. That's one of the things I like about the Judgment Day. Because on every single, I feel like WWE in its prime had those heel groups that were also hilarious. You still took them serious because you knew they could fuck you up, like hit a concerto on Beth Phoenix. But they also are just absolutely hilarious with what the things like Finn Balor, Dom, absolute hilarious. But this was a great match also. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna get to Edge hitting his spear, but I'm gonna tell you, boy, that man Edge ain't gonna never forget how to hit a spear, is he? And what a spectacle seeing Rhea Ripley and Beth Phoenix face off. I used to watch Beth Phoenix. She was a big dog. I was explaining that to one of my homies at work, Mike. I was telling him like, yo, Beth Phoenix, because he didn't watch Beth Phoenix back in the day, I guess. And I was explaining to him like, yo, Beth Phoenix was the Charlotte Flair of her time, basically. I think it was Victoria around that era too, but I was like, Beth Phoenix was the strong big dog of all the women. Like her finisher, the glam slam, unbelievable finisher. Like Beth was her back in the day. She was the Divas champion for a long time, the women's champion. And like Beth, to see her match up with Rhea and to see where Rhea eventually can go now, love to see it. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. Loved it. But it was a moment in this match where Edge and Beth both had Finn and Rhea in submissions, and Dom came up and slipped them some brass knuckles. And Corey Graves is just a godsend. This man said Dom and accidentally the brass knuckles accidentally slips off of his hand, even though he clearly threw them bitches. The way Corey Graves is so quick with it, bro, to be a heel for heel commentator for heels, to be a heel commentator for heels is just absolutely phenomenal, bro. You do not always have heel commentators that are that quick with it, bro. This dude, Corey Graves don't get enough credit for how great he is. But Rhea clocked Edge in the back of the head with some. Hey, bro, can you imagine having a UFC match and somebody just pull out some brass knuckles and clock you in the back of the head randomly, bro? WWE is great. But that would not hold the grit team down. You know they had more grit to show. It was also a double power bomb spot in this where Rhea and Edge was trying to go for, Edge and Finn was on the top ropes trying to go for something. Rhea and Beth ended up power bombing their respective opponents in a beautiful spot. Beautiful power bombs, bro. Absolutely beautiful power bombs. What's funny is Rhea might be taller than Beth, but I don't know if she that much stronger than Beth or if she even strong. Because you got to understand, the image I have of Beth Phoenix is always the strongest badass in the room. That's literally how she been booked her entire career. I remember when she was doing that goofy shit with Santino Marella, bro. That was crazy. What a time to be alive. But anyways, long story short, short story long. They hit the shatter machine on. Well, first Edge hit a mean ass spear on Finn. I'm gonna tell you something. But before he hit that spear, Finn hit that patented million chef kiss to that sling blade, bro. One of my favorite moves in all of wrestling, bro. When Finn Balor performed that full, what do you call it? When full forces going at each other type of sling blade, bro. That is such a beautiful move, bro. One of my favorite moves in wrestling. But after he hit the sling blade, he got obliterated with a spear. He folded on that spear, and then he got hit with a shatter machine by which kind of looked like the move that 3D used to perform, the 3D, and it kind of looked like the 1D, but it's like more like a Chris Jericho not Walls of Jericho code breaker at the end of it. Like Beth performed more of a code breaker. Regardless, it was fire, and they end up getting a 1, 2, 3, and Team Grit gets the dub. That was a great match. I'm interested to see where Edge and Beth go from here. I'm pretty sure Beth is going back to retiring after this. Who knows? Great way to end that rivalry, though, if that is the end of that rivalry, finally. I'm not saying finally as in like, oh, thank God that's over. But like, it was a great long rivalry. I would not be surprised if that was the end of it. And if it is, it was great. I have absolute. Now, it could possibly go on longer. And if it is, great. Just keep finding new ways to keep it fresh. And I have no problem with that. That's how story and long-term storytelling works. So I got no problem with it. The next match of the night was the United States Championship Elimination Chamber match. The boy warmed up now. Ain't calling it the Royal Rumble no more. The contestants in this Elimination Chamber. Ooh, boy. In this Elimination Chamber match. Austin Theory, Montez Ford, Bronson Reed, Damon Priest, Johnny Gargano, and Seth freaking Rollins. Now, I told you earlier, it was something in this match that really, it kind of took me off of this match. And maybe it's just my bias, bro. I don't know what it is. Seth and Johnny Gargano basically working together the entirety of the match was just, it just took me all the way out. I'm not gonna lie. And the start of the match took me out because it's just this disdain that I have for, we are great in-ring wrestlers making us better than you. Like, I don't like that type of attitude that some of these indie wrestlers or some of these underground, whatever you want to call them, wrestlers always approach things with. Because it make it seem like just because other guys don't do all this ridiculous technical type wrestling in the ring, all the reverses and flips and all this shit, that don't make them any less as great as you because you do all of that stuff. I'm never gonna like that. I don't support that notion or that thought process, that way of thinking. The Miz is not worse than Seth Rollins just because he couldn't do all the moves in the ring that Seth could do in the ring. I don't care for that. The Miz got his style and he make it work. That's why he put on great matches. That's why he can work with anybody. Roman Reigns is phenomenal in the ring. He don't got to wrestle like a Seth Rollins. If everybody wrestled like a Seth and a Gargano and a Daniel Bryan and a CM Punk, then what the fuck would wrestling be? This is why I say if you've seen one Daniel Bryan CM Punk match, you done seen them all. People get mad about John Cena's 5 moves of doom. What's the end of those matches usually like? For a lot of their title reigns, it all ended the same. They get their ass beat throughout the match and then they start hitting their finisher comeback moves. So, you know, it's a psychology to every match that make it great. But once that psychology get lost because you like a wrestler, because, oh, they wrestle, they actually are wrestlers. Yeah, that's irritating because great wrestlers are not just great in-ring wrestlers. And they also not just technical wrestlers. They can talk on the mic. They understand how to have not just great matches, but a match that's going to put them and their opponent over regardless of win or loss. Like, it's a lot of things that go into that. So when the match started off with all them reverses and the wrestler v wrestler I done seen a million times, it was very much irritating. I'm not going to lie. But once we finally got past that, you thought Austin Theory was the first out, which was very odd that Theory was first out as the champion. But nonetheless, when Theory came out, then it was a double team on Austin Theory by Seth and Gargano, who did a bunch of non-fighting to start the match. And now they doing a lot of tag teaming on Austin Theory. So I'm like, man, this is a weird start to this match, bruh. Because essentially what Gargano is and for one, Gargano was always, since he'd been brought up to the roster, we was always supposed to like him because of his reputation in NXT, when most of the people who watch the regular shows do not watch NXT. But because that's Triple H's guy, he was always going to get nice spots on the roster and whatnot. I don't think he done established himself as anything other than, hey, that's an NXT guy right now. And this match to me did more for, I don't know who this did much for, to be honest, because Seth is already Seth. Having Gargano basically help Seth out the entirety of the match until Seth didn't need him no more was ridiculous to me, but whatever. I honestly think Gargano's, with his size, they probably will never turn him into a heel because they'll have too hard of a time trying to turn him into a convincing heel at his size. So he already gonna always be the prototypical babyface. Plus the way he wrestle is just a babyface type of indie guy wrestler. Even though his moves don't really listen. I like Gargano. I just wish they would do a proper build, but it just feel like he another one of those throw him on the main roster NXT guys that Triple H always wanted to get up there. Bronson Reed, another one of them, but Bronson Reed had a pretty good showing. But when Bronson Reed came out, as a matter of fact, that's when the match when Priest came out is when the match picked up, because Priest was the second out of his pods. And it was a spot in this match where Theory tried to go back in his pod, and it was more the tag team thing, you know, a bunch of playing to the crowd. Gargano and Seth went into the pod and started teaming up with each other, beating them up. But when Priest came into the match, you thought it would have brought some order to the match. Eventually, they still teamed up. But nonetheless, while Priest was in the match, we did have an elongated period, it felt like, where it was just every man for himself finally. And then Bronson Reed made his way into the match. And then the last person to enter the match would be Montez Ford. But once the match finally... shout out to Montez, bro. Fire fit to come out. That was a nice coat. That was a nice coat, bro. And Montez was on demon timing too, bro. Montez was on demon. Go back and watch the match, bro. You're going to see the spot in the match that I'm talking about. Montez was on demon timing. But this was a great match. It was a part of this match where, so you always see the strong man parts in these matches, but sometimes it get performed so sloppy. Bronson Reed had a double Samoa drop on Gargano and on Seth Rollins, I believe it was. And it was a beautiful move. Another thing in this match, bro. See, this is what I'm talking about when I say Damian Priest too many times don't perform like a big man. Damian Priest had a lot of moves in this match, right? And I would argue Montez hit a move that was more of a big man type of move than him. When he hit his like Uranagi type of move that he hit, was basically like a rock bottom, because in this match he also tried to hit the people's elbow. Montez is hilarious, bro. He hit the people's elbow. Montez athletic as hell too, dog. Like, this dude is ultra athletic, bro. The way when they finally got somebody out of the match, I think the first person who was eliminated was Bronson Reed. And that's because Gargano hit him with his finisher. And then Seth hit him with a stomp, with the peace of mind. Then he got hit with a frog splash. No, a super kick. Then a frog splash. And then they finally was able to pin him and get him on up out. Actually, Montez pinned him and got him on up out of there. But see, then Gargano ended up getting pinned because he got caught thereafter. Basically, the match, I'm not going to ruin the entire match for you. The match came down to the last three people. Theory. I was finna say somebody's name in this match because I'm looking at their name. And that is not the person that was going to blow the thing before I even said it. It was Theory, Seth, Ford, Montez. Montez Ford looked like he was on a roll, throwing himself over the top ropes at him. But then he tried to go through the middle rope at one point in time and got hit with a fucking piece of mind by Steph. I was going to call him Steph Curry. By Seth Rollins. And that was the 1, 2, 3. And remember how I told you the outside floor is like grates. Like, it ain't like the regular floor. It's like grates. It's steel, basically. That was crazy. They had to get people in there to get him out. That was a nice little cool little. I hope they wasn't trying to do the DeMar Hamlin thing, because I know a lot of times WWE try to imitate real life with some of the things they do. So I hope that wasn't what they was trying to do. But it did make it feel more realistic that it took them so much to get him out of there. But when they did finally get him out of there, it was Seth taking on Austin Theory. And it looked like Seth was finna hit another piece of mind on Theory. But Logan Paul came through, did that little crazy flip shit he do to get into the ring and hit Seth with a clothesline. And then hit Seth with a piece of mind, bro. The stomp. Lately, I've been going through some things that really got me down. Oh, yeah. I used to go to this camp called Royal Families Kids Camp. And every time we went to the auditorium, they used to have some fire breakfast. But every time we went to the auditorium, That was the theme song for the camp. I need some. It's Kurt Franklin stomp. I got me high up to the sky. And when I think about your goodness, it makes me wanna stomp. Make me clap my hands. Make me stomp. Bro. Oh, yeah, that shit used to be a vibe. But listen. Logan Paul essentially cost Seth Rollins this match. Now, if you haven't been following, Seth Rollins been talking a lot of shit about Logan. You know, saying he don't care really about the WWE. He only here for him, trying to cash in on a check, trying to steal opportunities, or, you know, he don't really care about the WWE. He not really here for the grind. Well, Logan Paul said, grind these nuts in your mouth, my boy. Because there go that USA Championship. Retained by Austin Theory. And the last match of the night, our tribal chief, Roman Reigns, God in the flesh. He took on Sami Zayn, the colonizer, as I like to call him. And you know, when you watch Roman matches, these are more than just matches. These are experiences. You have to experience these things. Because there's a lot of storytelling that go in these matches. Roman Reigns is better than anybody in the WWE right now at working a crowd, at telling you a story throughout the entirety of the match. It's one of the things that make him so great. And so, as you would imagine, this was also, and obviously, you know, Seth, this was probably the one crowd that didn't do the ooh ah as loud, because this was a Montreal crowd, Canada. They love some Sami Zayn. So I'm gonna fast forward through this match because I want you to go experience it. But at the end of the match, I just want to say right now, Roman, you gotta handle Jay, bro. Jay Uso basically doing everything he could to turn his back on Roman for no reason. Roman is giving this man everything, and look at how he treated in return. It's absolutely unbelievable. But Roman does eventually end up winning this match, and at the end with a spear. And this was a great match. Some of them halula kicks that Sami hit was chef's kiss, my boy. But what an experience. What an experience. I noticed while I was watching this match, I said, yo, this dude Roman really don't know how to have a bad match, bro. The storytelling always on 1,000. His ad-libbing, the way he talked trash, him talking to the crowd, him talking to his opponent. I mean, just unbelievable, bro. God in the flesh. But the end of this match, and when the last time you seen Roman Reigns get beat up to end a show, a pay-per-view, where he was the one left beaten, broken, and you know what I'm saying? No Solo tonight. Like I said, you got Sami, and I kind of expected this when they was in there trying to beat up Sami after the match. KO came down and hit Jimmy and Roman and Paul Heyman, who threw some of the worst punches you could ever see in your lifetime. Hit him with a couple stone cold stunners. What? And got him on up out of there. Roman gave, I don't want to ruin the experience, but it was a spot in this match that resembled the spot from the last pay-per-view. And once again, much like the last pay-per-view, when a coward showed his true colors in that spot, once again, a coward showed his colors in this spot tonight. It was unbelievable, really. But I like the Elimination Chamber. I actually, if it was boring, I would have known it. If I didn't like it, I would have been able to tell because I had just got done watching it. I didn't start watching this pay-per-view till 1 a.m. Didn't end for me till I think I started watching this at around 12 something in the morning. It didn't end for me until around 2 something in the morning. So it didn't even feel like it took that long, to be completely honest with you. But I enjoyed it. It was the last pay-per-view before WrestleMania. We are obviously on the road to WrestleMania, one of my favorite pay-per-views and events of the year. I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with... There I go again. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Wrestling with Saint. I did enjoy. Who was my MVP of the night? My MVP of the night would probably be Let me see. Who was we picking as MVP of the night? Who was we picking as MVP of the night? I could give it to Carmella and Asuka for that kick spot. Those was fire ass spots. I could give it to Carmella because she had multiple nice spots in her match. I could give it to I think I'm gonna give it to, bro, you know what? When you have a dilemma like this, I think I'm gonna give it to, well, can't make up my mind, so you know what that mean. MVP of the night, man. Our tribal chief, Roman Reigns. With that being said, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Wrestling with Saint. Tell somebody you fuck with him. Tell somebody you love him. You can be anything in the world. Choose to be kind to somebody. Saint out.
I got the moves like hot sauce. Lil' mama taking the top off. I'm laying down getting topped off. After this, she know she getting knocked off. I know she loving the money, so I keep on thumbing and thumbing. She say she horny when she taking shots, so I keep them coming and coming. Now I'm putting dick in her tummy. Scoop her up like I'm raking her something. You would think shawty red track, the way that she running and running. You getting dumber and dumber. You out here chasing the bone. After she finished from giving me dome, the Uber is taking her home. Tight.
You're only good because I showed the world how to be great. Before you came along, these people loved me. I was the man of the people.